The nucleus contains one or two spherical bodies called nucleoli. Nucleolus is mainly involved in active ribosomal RNA synthesis. The animal cell is covered over by the outermost layer called plasma membrane, whereas in case of plant cell, it is the cell wall. Hello everyone, welcome back to the last session of this chapter called the cell, the unit of life. Myself, B. Shobarani from the Department of Biology, Vidyashram Pre-University College, Mysuru. What did we learn in the last session? We learnt about the remaining cell organelles, like we studied about the centrioles, cilia, flagella, etc. Right? So, we are going to study the last concepts of this chapter, the remaining concepts and the last concepts of this chapter in this session. So I think when you see this beautiful picture, you could have made a guess that, of course, it is nothing but nucleus. All of us know that the cell is made up of two very important parts. The center part called the nucleus, which has a very important contents, that is DNA and RNA, and the cytoplasmic part, which contains the cell organelles which we have come across, like the endoplasmic reticulum, both smooth and rough endoplasmic reticulum, lysosomes, Golgi bodies, centrioles, centrosome. Then we have come across mitochondria, chloroplasts, etc. Right? So now let us study about a very interesting cell organelle, that is nucleus. So what is nucleus? Here if you can see the picture, you can see it is a membrane bound organ. So here you can see a membrane, and here you can see the thread-like structures which is called as chromatin. And here you can see the nucleolus. Right? So what is nucleus? Nucleus is as a cell organelle was first described by Robert Brown in 1831. Who for the first time discovered nucleus? It was Robert Brown in 1831. So materials inside the nucleus was stained by Fleming and was named as what? Chromatin. So the chromatin structures which took the stain was first time discovered by a scientist by name Fleming. For the first time, nucleus was discovered by Robert Brown, and the chromatin was discovered by Fleming. And as we know that the interface nucleus has highly extra, particularly I think you might have come across in the mitotic cell division stages, the interface stage, which is called the resting stage, where we find the nucleus has extended and elaborate nucleoprotein. Chemical it is chromatin is nothing but nucleoprotein made up of one of the nucleic acid, either DNA and RNA plus protein fibers called chromatin. So the interface nucleus has highly extended and elaborate nucleoprotein fibers called chromatin. So the nucleus also contains nuclear matrix and one or two spherical bodies called nucleoli. Here you can see the nucleoli. So what is nucleus? Nucleus is one of the cell organelle which was first time described by Robert Brown in 1831, and the chromatin which is found inside the nucleus was first time discovered by Fleming, and the interface nucleus has highly extended and elaborate nucleoprotein fibers called chromatin, and the nucleus contains one or two spherical bodies called nucleoli. So nuclear envelope. So this is called as the nuclear envelope, which is a very important feature for a eukaryotic cell, because the nucleus is bound by a membrane, nuclear bound membrane. So nuclear envelope consists of two membranes with perinuclear space. So what do you mean by perinuclear space? Space between two membranes, space around 10 to 50 nanometer. So nuclear envelope consists of two membranes with perinuclear space. The outer membrane remains continuous with endoplasmic reticulum. You have already studied about one of the cell organelle called endoplasmic reticulum, which is very much involved in sending the materials outside and across the nucleus. So the outer membrane remains continuous with endoplasmic reticulum. So presence of nuclear pore due to fusion of two membranes. So you can see the nuclear pore here. Nuclear pore. How is this pore formed? Nuclear pores, presence of nuclear pore due to the fusion of the two membranes. And what is the very important function of this nuclear pores? This nuclear pores allow the movement of RNA and protein in both the directions. So the nuclear matrix, which we also call it as the nucleoplasm, this is called as the nucleoplasm, which is nothing but the matrix. The jelly-like substance what is found inside the nucleus is called as nucleoplasm or the matrix. So the nuclear matrix or nucleoplasm contains what? Nucleolus, and see, this matrix contains what? The chromatin as well as the nucleolus. So nuclear envelope consists of two membranes with perinuclear space, and the outer membrane remains continuous with endoplasmic reticulum, and presence of nuclear pore due to fusion of two membranes, and nuclear pores allow the movement of RNA and protein in both directions. The nuclear matrix or nucleoplasm contains nucleolus and chromatin. Let us study about some more important points about this nucleus. So nucleolus, what is the very important function of this nucleolus? It is the site for active ribosomal RNA synthesis. So nucleolus is mainly involved in active ribosomal RNA synthesis. So during cell division, the chromatin is condensed to form what? Chromosomes. All of us know how important chromosomes are. They are nothing but the genetic material. So the genes are located on the chromosomes, and chromosomes are called as vehicles of heredity. Right? So during cell division, the chromatins are condensed to form chromosomes. Chromatin contains what? DNA and some basic proteins called histones, non-histone proteins, and some RNA. So what is chromatin? DNA is nothing but gene. Gene is nothing but the DNA which helps in transfer of the traits or the characters from the parents to children. So chromosomes are called as the vehicles of heredity, carriers of genes, right? A single human cell contains approximately 2-meter long thread of DNA with 46 chromosomes. So all of us know what is the chromosomal number of human beings. It is 46 chromosomes. Right. So each chromosome essentially has a primary constriction of the centromere. Here if you can see, here this is called, so this is the different types of chromosomes based on their shape. Right, acrocentric, metacentric, telocentric, submetacentric, right, base. So the centromere holds the two arms of the chromosome. So if this is the centromere, so this is the centromere which holds the two arms of the chromosomes. So on each side of centromere, chromosomes are classified into what? Into 4 types. One is called metacentric, submetacentric, acrocentric, and telocentric. So metacentric, here you can see the metacentric chromosomes. So here in centromere is at the middle. Here you can see the centromere is in the middle part. So much so that both the arms are equal. So in metacentric chromosome, centromere at the middle with 2 equal arms. Both the arms are equal. Such a type of chromosome is called metacentric chromosome. What is submetacentric? So the centromere is slightly away from the center. So here you can see submetacentric. Here the centromere is slightly away from the center, so much so that one arm is long and the other arm is short. Here both are equal. Here in metacentric chromosomes, both the arms are equal. Why both the arms are equal? Because the centromere is located in the center. So much so that both the arms of the chromosomes called chromatids are in equal size. Here, so in submetacentric, the centromere is slightly away from the center. So much so that one arm is long and the other arm is short. Such a type of chromosome is called submetacentric chromosome. Acrocentric, almost at the tip, right? Acrocentric. Acentric means without chromosome. Acrocentric. Here, acrocentric with extremely short arm and a very long arm. Here we can see one arm is too very short and the other arm is too very long. Telocentric, almost at the terminal position. Here you can see the centromere is almost located at the terminal part of the chromosome. So such with the terminal centromere. So a few chromosomes have staining constrictions at a constant location, and this gives the appearance of small fragment called the satellite. So sometimes you can come across the satellite body like this. Such chromosomes with the satellite body are called as SAT chromosomes. They are called as SAT chromosomes. all the chromosomes will not have a satellite body. So those chromosomes which have a satellite body are called as SAT chromosomes. So I repeat, nucleolus is the site for active ribosomal RNA synthesis. During cell division, the chromatins are condensed to form what? Chromosomes. And chromatin contains what? DNA, which is nothing but the genetic material, with some basic proteins like the histones, non-histones, proteins, and some RNA. So a single human cell contains approximately how much? 2-meter long thread of DNA with 46 chromosomes. And each chromosome essentially has a primary constriction of the centromere. Centromere is the one which holds the two arms of the chromosomes. So based on the position of the centromere, we classify the chromosomes into metacentric, submetacentric, acrocentric, and telocentric. In case of metacentric, the centromere is located at the middle or in the center, which so much so that both the arms of the chromosomes are equal. In submetacentric, the centromere is located slightly away from the center, so much so that one arm is long and one arm is short. In acrocentric, with extremely, the centromere is almost located to the extreme end, so much so that one arm is extremely small and the other one is extremely long. So telocentric, like almost we can say like inverted I. So telocentric looks like I, inverted I. It looks like inverted I. So much so that there is the centromere is located at the terminal part of the chromosome. Now let us study about the microbodies. So cytoplasm of both and plant and animal cell contain minute membrane bound microbodies called vesicles. So what are microbodies or what are vesicles? Cytoplasm of both the plant cell as well as the animal cell contain minute membrane bound microbodies called vesicles. So vesicles contain various enzymes required for metabolic activity. So, there is a series of chemical reactions, metabolic activities going on in both the plant cell and the animal cell that is made possible by the microbodies. Hope you have understood about all the cell organelles. So, let us understand the difference between a plant cell and an animal cell. This is a very important part of this chapter which is usually asked in the exam. What are the differences between a plant cell and an animal cell? I think all of us know a very important difference is what? Cell wall is present in plant cell, cell wall is absent in animal cell. Then centriole is absent in plant cell, centriole is present in animal cell. Plastids are present in plant cell, whereas plastids are absent in animal cell. For animals, I think all of us know animals are heterotrophs. They don't manufacture their own food, so they don't require chloroplast. Whereas plants are autotrophs, they require their own food. Then lysosomes less abundant, lysosome more abundant. Large number of vacuoles, less number of, we can say absence of vacuoles. Absence of vacuoles. So I repeat, what is the difference between a plant cell and an animal cell? Cell wall present, cell wall absent, centriole absent, centriole present, plastids present, plastids absent, lysosome less abundant, lysosome more abundant, large number of vacuoles, no absence of vacuoles. Then parts of the cell and their main characteristic and their chief functions. So far we had studied about all the cell organelles. Now let us study one by one. Let us summarize what are all the cell organelles we have studied with their functions. So this is the main characteristic feature, and this is the column containing the main characteristic features, and this is the chief function. So cell membrane, as we know, it is also called as what? Plasma membrane. So outermost in animal cell. So the animal cell is covered over by the outermost layer called plasma membrane, whereas in case of plant cell, it is the cell wall. So it is the outermost in animal cell and lies next to the cell wall in plant cells. Whereas in plant cells, it lies next to the cell wall and very thin, flexible and living membrane. So it is a very thin, flexible, living membrane. Possesses fine pores, small pores, and semi-permeable. What do you mean by semi-permeable? It will allow only certain molecules to go in and out of the cell. So it is called semi-permeable. Then made up of lipoproteins. Chemically, it is made up of a combination of a conjugated lipid called lipoproteins. So I repeat, what is a very important main characteristic feature of the cell membrane, otherwise called plasma membrane. It is the outermost in the animal cell, and it lies next to the cell wall in plant cell. It is very thin, flexible, living membrane, possesses what? Fine pores, then semi-permeable and made up of lipoprotein. Now, what is the main function? So, as you know, it acts as a boundary, separates. So, separates contents of cell from its surroundings, regulates the entry of certain solutes and joins and even joins the other organs, maintain shape of the cell in particular in animal cell, maintain shape of the cell in animal cell. So this is repeated. So maintain shape of the cell in animal cell. So what is a very important function of the plasma membrane? Separates contents of the cell from its surroundings, regulates the entry of certain solids that enter inside and outside, maintain shape of the cell, particularly in animal cells. Let's moving on to the cell wall in plant cells. As we know, cell wall is present only in plant cell. So non-living rigid layer. So it is a non-living rigid layer, very rigidity. So the rigidity of the plant is mainly due to the presence of a rigid cell wall. So non-living rigid layer surrounding the plasma. So next, so the cell wall, as we have come across, lies next to the cell wall. So what is found around the cell wall? It is the plasma membrane. So mainly what is the chemical composition? Here the chemical composition of plasma membrane is lipoprotein. Here it is made up of a carbohydrate called cellulose, and it is freely permeable. So it allows, it is not semi-permeable, it is freely permeable. Now, what is the function of this cell wall? Gives rigidity and shape to the plant cell, allows substances in solution to enter and leave the cell without hindrance, provides protection. So the plant cell is protected by this very rigid cell wall. So what is the main function of the cell wall? Gives rigidity and shape to the plant cell, allows substances in solution to enter and leave the cell without hindrance, and provides protection. Moving on to the cytoplasm, which is the next very important part of a cell next to nucleus, is cytoplasm. All the parts together inside the plasma membrane, excluding nucleus, is called as cytoplasm. What is cytoplasm? All the parts together inside the plasma membrane, excluding nucleus, is called as cytoplasm. Contains what? A mixture of water and solute, inorganic and organic compounds, and various cell organelles, as we have already come across the endomembrane system or the cell organelles. Then what is the function of cytoplasm? Different organelles contained in it perform different functions. As we know, endoplasmic reticulum is involved in different function, lysosomes, Golgi bodies, then we have this mitochondria, then the chloroplast. So all these are the cell organelles found in the cytoplasm. Each one has a specific role or a specific function to perform. All metabolic activities occur in it. So all the metabolic activities that are taking place is taking place inside the cytoplasm. So it is a medium of earlier steps of respiration, production of pyruvic acid, that is the anaerobic respiration. Moving on to endoplasmic reticulum. So what is endoplasmic reticulum? It is a irregular network of tubular double membrane. It is continuous with the plasma membrane on the outside and the nuclear membrane on the inside. May be smooth or rough. As we said, endoplasmic reticulum can be classified into two types: smooth endoplasmic reticulum and rough endoplasmic reticulum, based on the presence or absence of ribosomes. So if ribosomes are found on the endoplasmic reticulum, we call it as rough endoplasmic reticulum, which is mainly involved in protein synthesis, whereas the smooth endoplasmic reticulum without the ribosomes is involved in the synthesis of lipids, right? So it is, that is, irregular network of tubular double membrane, and it is continuous with the plasma membrane on the outside and the nuclear membrane on the inside, may be smooth or rough. And supportive frame, what is the function of endoplasmic reticulum? It is the supportive framework for the cell synthesis and transport of proteins and fats. As I said, rough endoplasmic reticulum is involved in the synthesis of proteins, whereas the smooth endoplasmic reticulum is involved in the synthesis of lipids. Then mitochondria, as we know, it is called the powerhouse of the cell, as it generates energy in the form of ATP. So various shapes, but usually sausage shape. As you know, it looks like a sausage. Then double wall, as we know, it is having double wall with inner wall and thrown into folds called cristae, and have their own DNA, that is, have their own DNA containing several genes, also contain their own ribosomes also. Then what is very important function of this mitochondria? As we said, it is the powerhouse of the cell where the breakdown process of the cellular respiration takes place in the mitochondria. So release of energy from pyruvic acid produced in cytoplasm in the form of ATP. So it is called as what? Site of cellular aerobic respiration and stores energy. Synthesis of respiratory enzymes. Moving on to the Golgi apparatus. As you know, it was first time discovered by Camillo Golgi. Hence, it is named after the scientist called Camillo Golgi as Golgi apparatus. So, stacks of flattened membrane sacs consist of tubules, vesicles and vacuoles. So, what is a very important function of Golgi apparatus then? Synthesis and secretion of enzymes, hormones, etc. Formation of acrosome of sperm. I think all of us, we know that the cap-like structure that is found in the sperm is made by Golgi apparatus, which is very important for the sperm to take its entry inside the ovum. Moving on to ribosomes. So as we know, ribosomes are called the protein factories. They are nothing but small granules either scattered in the cytoplasm or attached to the outside of the endoplasmic reticulum. They are either attached to the endoplasmic reticulum when they are called as rough endoplasmic reticulum, or they may be thrown into the cytoplasm. As you know, they are the sites of protein synthesis, hence they are called protein factory. So single-walled, dense spherical bodies composed mainly of RNA. So very important function is what? Protein synthesis. Moving on to lysosomes, which are also, as I said, they are called as what? Suicide bags. So they are membranous sacs budded off from the Golgi body and contain 40 different types of enzymes. So what is a very important function of the lysosomes? Intracellular digestion, destroy foreign substances. When cell is old or injured, these rapidly destroy organelles, hence are called suicide bags. Why they are referred to as suicide bags? So when cell is old or injured, these will engulf those cells. So hence they are called as suicide bags. Digest cartilages during formation of bones. Then centrosome, that is, as you know, centrosomes are found only in animal cells, a region surrounding the centrioles. Centrioles located near the nucleus contains 1 or 2 centrioles. Centrioles are surrounded by microtubules which very much help in the formation of spindle fibers or aster rays during the process of cell division. So initiates and regulates cell division, forms spindle fibers with the help of asters. Then plastids, which as we know, plastids are present only in the plant cell but absent in the animal cell. So several, as we already come across, based on the type of pigments, we classify them into chloroplast, chromoplast and leucoplast. So several kinds, most common ones are chloroplast, which is a very important characteristic feature of a plants, and containing the green pigment called chlorophyll. As you know, plants are autotrophs and utilize chlorophyll to trap the solar energy, to convert the solar energy into chemical energy in the form of the synthesized food called starch, right? Then that is double membrane proteinaceous matrix contains DNA. They are disc-like structures called, the disc-like structures piled up one above the other, they are called thylakoids, contain chlorophyll. And as you know, most of the flowers and leaves and fruits are colored, and it is all because of these chromopigments. So imparts what? Color to the flowers and fruits, particularly the chromoplast like xanthophyll yellow, carotene orange and red. Chloroplast green, traps solar energy for photosynthesis. And we also, the leucoplasts, which are not are colorless pigments, but they are very much involved in nutrient storage. Like leucoplast stores starch, then anthocyanin pigment is dissolved in cytoplasm, that is blue-violet color. Moving on to nucleus. So as we know, the largest cell organelle in the cell is the nucleus, and mostly we know it is spherical and dense nuclear membrane with pores to allow substances to enter and leave, and contains network of very important thread-like structures called chromatin fibers which contain DNA, which is nothing but the genetic material. So what is a very important function of the nucleus? It regulates the cell function. If removed, the cell will die, and contains chromosomes, bearers of genes that control hereditary characters. Nucleolus, one or more round-shaped nucleoli inside the nucleus. What is the very important function of the nucleolus? Produces ribosomes, participates in protein synthesis by forming and storing RNA, dictates ribosomes to synthesize proteins. Hope you have understood all the cell organelles what we have studied in this particular chapter called Cell, the Unit of Life. Moving on to chromatin fibers, as we already said, the thread-like structures that is found in the nucleus is nothing but called chromatin fibers. So the network in resting stage of the nucleus, in the interphase stage, they get after the when they enter the prophase stage of mitotic cell division, they become condensed. Thickening of chromosomes is called condensation. Chromosomes during cell division made up of DNA threads. So chromosomes carry hereditary information or the genes. Vacuoles, as we know, vacuoles play a very great role in a plant cell. Clear spaces with water or their substances in solution. Plant cells have larger vacuoles, while the animal cells have, usually they are absent or even if present, very few. Because next, covered by a membrane or a covering called tonoplast. So what is the function of vacuoles? Very important is what? Storage. Storing of unwanted substances or even the cell sap. So storage of water and other substances, food, pigments and waste products. Give turgidity to the plant cells by pressing against the cell wall. See how important it is for a plant cell. Then granules, small particles, crystals or droplets. Like for example, we have starch in plant cells, glycogen in animal cells, and fat containing granules serve as food for the cells. Hope you have understood this very important chapter called the cell, the unit of life. So with this session, I have completed all the concepts that are included in this interesting chapter called Cell, the Unit of Life. So I'll be back in the coming session with a very new and interesting chapter called Anatomy of Flowering Plants. So you have already come across morphology in flowering plants. So we'll be studying about the anatomical features of the plants. Right. So I'll be back with a new chapter. Till then, goodbye and thank you.